Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. You're at the Cranky live broadcast coming to you live. Glad you can be here. I hear I'm conflicting with another program, Onyx Gardens, playing this evening. I think Onyx Gardens is conflicting with me now because this is my normal time. So I'm not conflict with Onyx, and they conflict with me, but bless up and welcome. Bless up and welcome. That is some of the music. Yes. It should be a good show. I look forward to that show, Now listen to music a little bit first. So no bear with me. 90s thing. Wake up to okay, technique, Paul Watkins. Oh, you know, been coming early. Yeah, man. Should be a fun show this evening. Fun show, me I tell you. Some old topic, and not new news, you know, but how you present the news. Blessing Omar Henry, thanks for being here. You know? Yeah, man, we're there. Enjoy yourself. All right, stop the music. We're going to business time. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Meet up, everybody, first before me start. Can me start? Me now stop. By the way, this program will not be more than 2 hours long. So if I get too close to 2 hours, I'm not finished. Me I continue tomorrow. So I can come back and finish the show. Me have about 6 topics to go over. Me now tell them in the video. Me go over them one by one. Each one me I go over. Me I put them up. Bless up, Drew Ross. Thanks for being here. So as I said before, we have 6 topics to go through. I'll go through. Typical Jamaican, eat up my age. And when I go through each of them, they should each take, I would think, at least maybe 20 minutes to half an hour, actually, each of them. So it'll be more than 2 hours. I'll finish up tomorrow at same time, same place. Bless up, Jason Guna. But it should be a really good discussion. Now, I'm not jumping into it yet. I'm not going into any other topic that are offline from what I know, but from what's on here. We'll talk about these. I'm not going to digress into what the news of the day is. I think these will take some time. Bless up, Tiga Thunderball. I don't think I've seen that name before. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. As you come into the chat, and let me say something, people. Let me say something. I don't think a lot of people are encouraging YouTubers to do YouTube videos and content. And here is why. If you come to the channel, you don't give likes, you don't share, you don't support the channel, right? You don't subscribe. Then the person who is spending time doing work and trying to deliver quality content is going to get discouraged, like yours truly. That's why you don't see me coming here trying to do video every other day, because I've been doing this since June of last year. So I'm not there a year yet. I'm a year in no time. And I have about 2,700 subscribers. And I said to myself, you know what? T-Gat, T-Gat. Oh, we never say you T-Gat. T-Gat, you have a different name, man. T-Gat. I thought it was just normally T-Gat, not T-Gat down the ball. So let me forget T-Gat. I maybe I hide sometime. But anyway, T-Gat, I'm going to say you. So the point I'm making is this. If I don't get encouragement in life, if I invest in something and my return is not good, me stop do it. So now I go see myself, me kill myself on YouTube. I do know 2 video, 3, 4, 5 video a week. Me not do it no more. Me enjoy myself. Me enjoy it. See me I get older. Me I grew up and thing. Me not come here. I can spend enough time. This thing I'm doing today, I spend almost all day today putting this together. If I'm doing a video, I must spend time doing it. So when I spend all day doing it, and you come in the chat and you sit down and you listen, and some of them are YouTubers too, gonna come take notes and then they'll leave and don't get no likes and don't get no love. They not encourage the content creator to come and do this. So my philosophy is, if me not feel no love, then me go find something else. If me I try to do, I'm gonna give you an analogy, example. Me I try to talk to a woman and she not give me no good vibes. Me go look for another one. So me stay. So if me not give me no good vibes, me not waste my time, people. So me look at ranting. And I'm ranting about me, so I tell you how this thing works for me. So now see me I come at the 4 or 5 videos a week. Unless me get some love and the subscriber base go up. But apart from that, me can't do that. Me believe in a life, say if you invest in something, you don't get no good return. Find another investment. Anyway, let's start with the stream. So This evening, so the topics I'm going to talk about this evening, people, they're not new topics. As I said before, sometimes it's how you provide the content, right? So we're going to pull back the curtains on situations that's been brewing in Jamaica football. And we may touch on the Caribbean a little bit because I have a video here, a small video about something in Trinidad, but I may not get to it today. Hopefully I do, but I may not get to it. So what we're talking about the lawsuit between, you have to be very careful. First of all, let me say this before we start this. Going forward on this channel, I'll be very conscious of what I say and how I say it. Let me speak English because I don't want to be taken to the courts to be sued for any defamation. And this evening, we'll walk through some of that, actually. I got the sense by doing some research. I actually had no idea how stringent defamation laws were in Jamaica. Seriously. And when I read through them, I'm going to walk you through them, people, because, you know, when I do things, I'm doing them full-blown, extensive, when I do no topical thing. I had no idea how the laws favored the plaintiff, where in most other countries I know, especially in the US, it favors the defendant. So we'll go through that. We're going to talk about the lawsuit. We're going to talk about conflict of interest today again. It's important. We're going to talk about the concept of accountability. We may go into resignation as it relates to what's been communicated in the media about Dennis Chong, but I may not get to today. If I do, we'll talk about it extensively. But if I don't, we'll talk about it tomorrow. So it's a continuous tomorrow now. We just drop another same thing, the same exact thing, except different thumbnail. I want to talk a little bit about maybe CONCACAF and Trinidad if I get to it. Right? So let's dive in. And before we dive in again, hit the like button. Tell your friend and family to come have the conversation, because it's a good conversation this evening, trust me. Bless up Float. Thanks for being here. Jeremy. Jeremy said, please look up. What did Jeremy say? Jeremy said, cranky, please look out for the haters and please watch yourself, sir, because you're next on their list. Yeah. But here's the thing, Jeremy. Yeah, you're right, Jeremy. It's important, but you do have some protection where I reside actually. And we go through that. People, I'm going to do some education this evening because I'm not a lawyer. Let me just say this, but I am familiar with elements of the law, right? I'm not a lawyer, but I've dealt with lawyer throughout my career. And I'm not going to propose or try to come here and try to talk about legalese and those things. I'm going to give you the layman version. When I pull up legal briefing or legal information, I try to get the lay person's explanation of it, because lawyers like to seem intelligent, just like doctors, and they write things in a way in which the normal person on the street don't fully understand, including yours truly sometimes. They write in circles, they talk in circles. I'm not into that nonsense. All right? So let's talk about the first item, which is about the lawsuit, what I consider silence and selective accountability, and we'll go through it. So football fans in Jamaica and those who are in YouTube land should be concerned, to be asking, especially if you're right in Jamaica. Now, Rudolph Speid, people, if you're not squeaking, my chair is squeaking for somewhere. I need some WD-40. And I just bought this chair about a year ago now. I know why it squeaks so much, but anyway, forgive me. It's going to allow squeaking in the background. Rudolph Speid is suing Craig Butler, who most people know Craig Butler. I call him Toxic Boss. He may sue me if I call him Toxic. He sue me for everything in Jamaica. And the reason why I call him that is not to be derogatory, no. It's how he operates. Loud, rambunctious, say things, exaggerate, say things sometimes which just don't make any sense. He and I had a run-in has to be about 3 years ago. When I was first introduced to YouTube, and I went a management program. He was on the program. If you know, this don't be a management program anymore, but he was on the program. And I was trying to explain to him that in life, everyone has to compromise in some shape or form. And he went off on me. Him not compromise, him not do this. And he just went off and just, to me, very, very rude. And I got into my feelings, obviously. I should have taken a step back and take the higher road. But, sometimes I go to the basement. So I went to the basement a little bit. Wasn't the right approach at that time, actually, because he must say me, boy, I may talk like, me speaky spokey. I consider myself to be articulate. You can consider me what you want. That's how I consider myself. I'm not going to change that perspective of myself, because you need to have a high opinion of yourself when you're in life. And then he went off, and I went off too. And that shouldn't be the right approach. So I call it from that point on, and I see him in different forums, see him on a channel taking his shirt off and do something. I call him toxic boss because he's always in confrontation with somebody else. I don't know why anybody's like that. Like something you need to go see somebody for help, actually, if you're like that. But anyway, so he's being sued by Rudolph Speid, who is the chair of the technical committee for the Jamaican Football Federation, the owner of Cavaliers, and the coach of Cavaliers, and the sporting director of Cavaliers, which is really interesting. But we'll get to that at some point. And as you know, Craig has his own academy. He's put through a number of footballers who have reached different level between Bailey and Wisp and others that he talked about, right? But the most concerning part of this lawsuit to me, so and we'll talk about what triggered the lawsuit. Well, could be a lot of things triggered the lawsuit because he's been saying things for years about Rudolph. And to be a fear to Rudolph, even though I don't think Rudolph, I'm going to say this. I think Rudolph have a problem with me because I call him out. And I'm going to keep calling him out until something changes. But anyway, he berates Rudolph in public a lot of times. And even though I also criticize Rudolph, there's a way to do so. And he critiques Rudolph, but Rudolph always try to like almost deflect him in assumptions. Now, I know Rudolph always talks about his lawyer, his daughter being a lawyer in law school. So she must graduate from law school because Rudolph has sued him. And suing the kid that has the channel Knockins, which is interesting. The kid name is Jordan Woodfine. Now, my problem with this is that, and you'll see that as part of the video. I'm not sure I have the video now, but the kid actually, I put up a video, and we'll go through a video. Take the video down, because I think he was told to take it down because he didn't want to be sued. He says he doesn't have the money to deal with litigation, and he might get sued. So and Butler always say, okay, if he want him get sued, he want to sue him, have him lie at him, right? He has more resources. The kid appears not to have the resources. When I say kid, the kid is not a teenager, but he's probably in his mid-20s. Now, when you get sued, people, a lot of times you see people settle when they get sued. They don't settle because they're wrong enough. They settle because the legal fees they may incur. So, for example, suppose you're being sued. They'll cost you $1 million for legal fees, but the settlement is $500,000. You may be stupid not to take the $500,000 unless you have the money to burn $1 million because you're going to save $500,000, right? So the kid is being sued along with Butler for defamation. And that's unfortunate. Now, this is what is said. If you look at, when I picked up the Observer, it says Rudolph Speid files defamation lawsuit against Craig Butler and Knockins Media. And they did mention Knockins Media. So here's what it says here. Football coach Rudolph Speid today filed a defamation lawsuit against Craig Butler, who is also a football coach in the Supreme Court in Jamaica, people. Jordan Woodfine of Knockins Media is also a defendant in the suit. Speid, who is coach of Cavaliers, owner of Cavaliers, chairperson of the JFF Technical Committee, is claiming that Butler allegedly made defamatory statements about him, which he claims were then, it's not allegedly, they were published by Knockins Media. It's not allegedly, they were published and taken down, so it's not allegedly. I know Observer is trying to be very cautious here because I don't want to sue them. It's not allegedly, it was published by them because we saw the video up and then the video was taken down. Speid is alleging that he has suffered damage and incurred expenses. Now, as on Management show last night, one thing Management said was, well, if he's been defamed and he suffered damage, but then subsequent to all this transpiring, he did so well with the CONCACAF tournament and Messi and all the money makes. So did he really suffer damage? But I think you should think about these things differently, right? There's point and place for things happening. He may have suffered reputational risk, damage. He may have suffered in some way, shape, or form. Doesn't mean he can do really well subsequent to that. He's also seeking damages for defamation pursuant to the Defamation Act, aggravated damages, exemplary damages, and damages for negligence in respect of words and electronic posts, right? So that's from the Observer. So he's suing Knockins, and he's also suing, he's suing Butler, and Knockins get caught up in it. And the only thing I'm sad about is that the kid who appears not to have the resources, now he might have come up with money to defend himself. That is so horrible, actually, right? And if you're a YouTuber like me and others who are in this space, you're also susceptible to lawsuit. If someone comes in your program said something which in Jamaica law could be deemed to be defamatory in nature, and then you can get sued, right? That's interesting. Christopher said, Cranky remember Speid is vice president of JFF. Conrad said, Butler gonna fight to the end. If I was some people, I probably would settle. Give them all their set up. If you can collect in public forum, all been set up over the years. The defamation laws in Jamaica, we go through it. It's much more draconian than, for example, in the US. Right? Much more draconian. Jordan, Woodford and Knockins, if it's a sole proprietor, then Jordan could be in trouble. He's probably a sole proprietor. He, I don't know if he's a LLC or if he's a LLC, but even so, you may be able to pierce the corporate veil and go after the individual, not just the entity, right? So now let's play one of the videos, actually. Let's play one of the videos. Very short excerpt from what Butler says. You know, I don't really talk about Butler on my channel, right? But because it's all the public domain and it's been there, you know, I don't come talk about these things. If it come first, I try to get information first before I come and talk about it. So let's play one of these videos, very short one. And then let me just say this. I did reach out to Gunners, the Canio, because he had done something around this in terms of talking about the video and all that. And Gunners appreciate it. Gunners did give me permission to play his video from his channel because we talk Jamaican. Me not play nobody video in that context unless they give me permission. Right? I'm not going to play on the video. I may play something and a verbiage with picture, but I'm not play the video and give me permission. So Cranky, are you saying with the law being such a coming, please cancel Butler for bail? No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. So let's listen to this video first, right? And we can have some conversation.
The reason we did not go to the national team, and I'll make it clear, and I do not regret it. Michael Forbes, right, was the starting center back for Jamaica's under-23 team, right, where John Wall was the coach. Rudolph Speid wanted Michael Forbes to play for Cavaliers. Signed him up that he played for Cavaliers, and the boy did not play for Cavaliers. I did not want to play. The boy said he's not going to play, he's going to Phoenix. And Forbes said, okay, Speid said, okay, well, you will never play for the national team again. He dropped him from the starting position. That's on the bench now. That's in the top 13.
Moving on into the...
Okay, so that was that video that sort of triggered a lot of this, right? Because if you remember, this happened a while ago where there was a think about the kid that was at Mountain View. There's something involving St. Catherine. Was he released, not released, all sort of stuff, right? And Rudolph came on other channels and was defending himself about this. And it's back and forth, as we always know, right? So he's basically saying, what Butler seemed to be saying is that they had a kid who was signed up for Cavaliers, apparently, and didn't want to play for Cavaliers. And because the kid say he want to play for Phoenix, not Cavaliers, he was precluded from being in the national team. I don't know if this is right or wrong. That's what is being said, right? Now, and that's probably one of the reasons why he's getting sued, because I think Rudolph is basically saying that's not true, right? Now, here's another post. So this is one from Decanio. So that's the first one, what I think was triggered. And you could go to this may not be the only video. I'm sure Rudolph's lawyer is going to bring up a number of other situations in the public domain where these things are right. People, it's 136 on the channel. It's 60 likes. Now, you know what I normally do, right? I normally go silent until they go up. But on our grown people, I should not have to do that. I should not have to come ask if you like the video because you want to come and just listen and not like the video. Now, I know some of you just came in and you probably forget, and I forgot sometime. But some of you just come, sit down, and don't want to hit the like button. And as you know, I told you it's upsetting to me. But anyway, we'll keep going. Now, here's the other video, right? Because it appears that Rudolph is saying that he was defamed and this caused him harm. And obviously, that's why he's suing both Butler and Knockins, which I think is unfortunate for the kid, right? He got caught up in what we call adult fight, and he will get knocked down, and it's hard for him to get up because he got to go find lawyer now and money in pocket to do this. These people Rudolph have deeper pockets now. Rudolph had the messy situation. He had Cavaliers, he had CONCACAF. He have deeper pockets now. I'm sure Butler have had deeper pockets from way back when. This kid, from what he's been saying, don't have those deep pockets, right? So So defamation. So in the defamation case here, let's listen to the Kanye, and then I'm going to talk in detail about defamation. What the Kanye says, what I've read the sort of law to be in a sense, and we'll take it from there.
Craig Butler versus Rudolph Speid saga, as Mr. Butler yet again came out in an interview with Knockings, throwing out wild allegations and conspiracies in a post-match interview with Knockings. He actually started off the interview scolding Knockings and calling him weak for deleting the video he posted a couple weeks ago where Craig Butler spoke about MG Sports being a liar and Rudolph Speid blocking players.
Talk us through the match.
Not as disappointing as you're suppressing the truth and being unwilling to let the truth come out with what happened with Rudolph Speid. I hope you're happy with yourself.
So I stop it there for a reason. This is a reaction video. So Emma said the youth wimp out, I use my term, because I'm taking on the video. So let me say this to Craig Butler. Since you're telling the youth, and you said it's not public domain, so you embarrass the youth, PM legal fees. You basically says he needs to man up and put the video out there because he's media, he's a journalist, and the truth shall set him free. Well, no, I get so pay up because I'm saying I have the money. Because you are pushing for doing it and try to embarrass in public, then pay up.
I am very not happy with myself, but
What name? MG?
MG Sports
Told some lies in order to try and influence a decision or to put pressure. Yeah? And it wasn't true. How you think Maggie felt?
Now, I understand the points Craig Butler made, and if it were me in a similar situation, I don't see myself taking down the video. However, I can see it from both sides. Looking from the outside in, my channel is run differently from Knockings. It is registered in the United States, and I do not go into the streets as much as Knockings does. So my perspective is that if I get someone on my channel to speak their side of the story on something, I cannot be held liable for that. I have no control over what someone says. So if someone has an issue with what someone said when they came on my platform, they have two options. They can take it up with that person, or they can come onto my platform and give their side of the story, because everyone is always invited onto this platform. So that is the perspective of Craig Butler and also myself. However, I do understand Knockings as his channel is more dependent on others than mine is. So if he does do a video that the Jamaica Football Federation, Rudolph Speid, and even his colleague in this space is unhappy with, then he more than likely would have to take that down just to make peace. A channel like his is doing good work, but it also has its pros and cons. He is dependent on interviews from some of the same people that are unhappy with him for his channel to run how it is running right now. So it is a wise decision to remove something that has so many parties unhappy. Another thing that Knockings does do is that he shots himself in his foot with his lack of objectiveness in his interviews, specifically with Craig Butler. He rides along with the wave a bit too much and does not challenge him. It feels more like a conversation between two friends than with a journalist and an interviewee, or a journalist and a coach. So that amplifies how others will feel about the interviews. They will feel attacked not only by Craig Butler, but also by Knockings, because he tends to lean on the side of Craig Butler and agree with him a lot, instead of staying objective and just asking questions and allowing him to respond. My advice would be to shift up your tonality and stay on track. For example, in my interview with Michael Richmond, who had allegations of Craig Butler treating his player, Ravi Coates, unfairly, I did not allow him to come on and just say everything as he pleased, right? I challenged him on almost every allegation that he made. If it did not make sense to me, or if he did not have anything to show proof, right? So when you conduct an interview in a manner that gives you an added layer of protection, viewers will respect that. And they will see you as a journalist trying to get to the truth, as opposed to someone who is just trying to let a man talk. You can give a man a platform to speak, but you must challenge the things that he says that are baseless and without proof, especially in the public eye. The person might have proof behind closed doors, but if they do not present that proof, you have to challenge the information.
So that was Gunner sort of giving his perspective on the interview that was done. And Gunners did do a really good interview, as he mentioned, with the person from Guyana. And he did challenge him throughout the interview. So it's you got to think about the thing holistically, right? When you go in a court of law, you have to show that you were impartial, objective, fair in what you're doing, and that you weren't necessarily part of the whole defamation of the person. And that still may not help you in Jamaica. And let me go through, let me see if I can pull this up. Let me go through this actually and sort of explain, if I can, the whole defamation law in Jamaica. Let me see if I have the right one. So let's go through this, people. This is very important. What's the Jamaica Defamation Act? Because sometimes we confuse it with what the US is, and it's totally different. Let's go to this, people. CC, you're late. Let me look, CC, you're late. So what's the Jamaica Defamation Act? Now, the Jamaica Defamation Act 2013 is the primary legislation in Jamaica that governs defamation law. It replaced the common law torts of libel and slander with a unified cause of action called defamation. So they combine the verbal component and the written component. The act was aimed to modernize and simplify the law and balance freedom of expression with protection of reputation. I will say this, the law leans on protection of reputation, and I'm not sure it supports freedom of expression when I read through it. Now, I didn't give you the law, I'm giving you the interpretation of the law, because if you go to the law, it's written in legalese. When I pulled it up today, I was like, very interesting how lawyers like to write. Now, what's the key provisions of the act? And this is important. How you define defamation? Defamation occurs when someone publishes a statement about another person that harms their reputation in the eyes of a reasonable person, member of the public. Now, let me tell you something. Gunners did a good job of trying to explain all of this, but some things that Gunner talk about doesn't really apply in Jamaica in the context of protecting you as you may think. Because this is not the US. The US is much more free when it comes to this, and the law is a little more less draconian than in Jamaica. Now, the law abolishes the difference between libel, as I mentioned before, and slander, which is spoken. All the defamation statements, whether spoken or written or broadcast, are treated the same. So whether you write it or you say it, it's treated the same. Now, what are the defenses that you may have available for defamation in Jamaica? If you're telling the truth. So if the statement is substantially true, then yeah, that's a good defense, right? Still doesn't protect you. Here's another thing people don't realize. Even if what you say is true, somebody decides to sue you, you forget lawyer, so it costs you money. People don't sometimes realize that it's not about whether you're right sometimes, It's what's going to cost you, because you could be right and still wrong. You're wrong from the context of you have to put money in your pocket to pay for a lawyer. You're right from the fact that what you said was true, and hopefully the courts will agree with you. If it's an honest opinion, if it is fair and honest expression of opinion, on a matter of what you call public interest, and even that is subjective. It's something called absolute privilege, which applies in parliament, court proceedings, etc. Right? Qualified privilege applies in certain reports and publication made without malice, and publication a matter of public interest. The publisher of the information reasonably believe it was in the public interest. Now we'll go to the more simplistic way of sort of thinking through this. And there's a single publication rule. A claimant cannot sue multiple times you can't have double jeopardy. You can't sue multiple times for the same defamatory statement as republished unless it is materially different from before. So you can't publish something, somebody sue you, then they want to sue you again for the same thing, unless you change it up materially. There's a period where you can sue for, which is about 2 years. And they have what they call a serious harm requirement, meaning the statement must have caused or is likely to cause serious harm to the reputation of the claimant. So Speid is saying what Butler said about him caused him serious harm, and therefore that's why I'm suing. Now, here's where we get to this, because this is what we've set a focus on. And everybody should think about this, especially in the YouTube space or in the media space. Are you new to this business like I am? Can media personnel be sued for distributing videos with potentially defamatory content? So you're saying, because I hear somebody in the chat saying, well, if you have disclaimer, it protects you. Don't jump to that right away. Jamaica laws are much more draconian. And here it says, yes. Because let me tell you something. I actually went to like 3 different sources to collate the information to put it here. So when I went to the Jamaica law, I went to a number of AI and to collate to bring it here. So it's sort of simplistic to understand, but also check some of the facts. So yes, media personnel, including broadcasters, YouTubers, and bloggers, can be sued under Jamaica defamation law if they republish or distribute a defamatory statement, even if they are not the original speaker. The Jamaica law is draconian, people. And if you just come in the chat, please hit the like button. I'd appreciate it. Let me repeat that, people, because this is important. Media personnel. So me, Gunners, Manningsman, Minzy, Jason Goon in our chat. If somebody come on my channel and say some defamatory things on my channel and we put it out in the public domain, we can be sued. Right? We can be sued. My reference is CC. Me not for show my references CC. If you want to sue me, you sue me. I tell you, me get my references. Me not for show them. If you want to sue me, you sue me. But I use a lot of AI. I use ChatGPT. I use Perplexity. I use Gemini 2.5. And then I may cross-check the information. But anyway, we won't go into all of that. So here's how it works on Jamaica law. If you republish it, it means equals you publish it. So sharing or distributing a video or content from, and I asked about a live show, because the difference between a live show and pre-recording. When you're live, you can't control what's being said when you're live, right? If you publish a recorded video, you have a chance to go check it and make sure it's right and XYZ, right? If I'm a live show content defamatory remarks, it's considered no new publication. So you have a live show, you send it out, you publish it. Even though, say we on this, I am doing this live show now, and you call in and you defame somebody, that means I publish it. Unless I go in and delete that component, I could be sued on Jamaica law and be liable. And you don't have to have intent. Because sometimes people think you have to have intent for this work. So even if the media personnel did not intend to defame, so Gunners, I don't think Knockins meant to defame, but he published a video. So they can still be held liable unless they have some kind of valid defense. Now, what the defense you can have? Defense is media person can invoke is they had no reason to know the statement was defamatory. Depends on what the court say in this case. They were merely acting as a passive conduit or distributor. As it says here, the defense is narrow in this case. They acted without malice and with a brief belief that the content was in the public interest. So a lot of these things are subjective, So can you truly prove those and will the courts accept it? So what should we in the media, I consider myself media now. What should we do? We should review. So I do a show now. I need to review it and make sure the controversial statements are not there. That's going to put me in trouble. And make sure I take it out or manage it better. As it says here, you got to edit or remove any segments that may contain potentially defamatory statements. And you can include disclaimers. I know Gunners talked about disclaimers before, and Gunners talked about being registered in the US. If you're a Jamaica resident, even if you're registered in the US, and you may have an LLC, which means you have a corporate veil, and that veil didn't get protect you. Sometimes you can pierce the corporate veil. If you're a Jamaica resident, you're subject to the law anyway. So I'm not sure that gets you in trouble. You can put disclaimers. Some people have said that the views expressed by Cranky, if I go on somebody's channel, is Cranky views and not my views. Yes, that should help in some shape or form. You can come up with a body of evidence to help inform whoever may sue you or the courts that what you did was malicious, and the courts may have empathy or sympathy with you and rule in your favor. But as it says here, when you're in doubt, talk to your lawyer. Now, let's summarize the Jamaica Defamation Act. Obviously, it unify all the sort of verbal and written way you can defame someone. Media personnel can be liable if you publish and distribute video. And as it mentioned here, the best approach is editorial. We call it editorial caution, which is either make sure you have lawyers who check your stuff first, or you review your stuff and make sure it's okay. Now, someone may say, well, that's not how that works in the US. I brought that up. Let's do a comparative, right? In the US Constitution, First Amendment provides extraordinary protection, what they call for freedom of speech and the press. Jamaica don't have that. It makes it much harder to sue for defamation in the US, especially when it involves talking about like a public person or a public discourse, saying politics or public figures. So that's where you hear Trump can say a bunch of things, which I have here. Or people can say things in the public domain and get away with it because the First Amendment protect them. I'm going to give you an example. You saw where Dominion, the company that are involved with ballot boxes, sued Fox and won about $700 million. Part of the reason was, if you check what Fox actually did, you realize what they did was malicious and it was for ratings. So they deliberately know something was wrong, inaccurate, libelous, defamatory, and then still go on in program and publish it. And they had emails and communication amongst themselves that clearly demonstrated that, right? But if you publish something in the US, it may be exaggeration, it may be hyperbole, it may be something someone's trying to say, or just make a general statement and say this politician a thief. That's probably considered protected under the First Amendment and free speech. You can't go to theater and say, boy, fire on people and kill themselves, right? That's not free speech. That's just being a moron, actually. Now, public figures also face a higher bar, right? So I have here a case of Sullivan versus New York Times in 1964, where the Supreme Court ruled that the public officials and later all public officials can only win defamation suits if they prove actual malice, right? That is, the statement was made knowing it was false or with reckless disregard for the truth. So I may say something, boy, the man you want teeth. It may be just me, I'm just blowing off steam versus saying it to have somebody cause aspersion on the person in a way to defame them. So it's very, and it's hard, and also, I'll talk about this, it's sort of hard to prove. So statements that are clearly opinion, exaggeration, or what you call rhetorical flourish, even if offensive, cannot be a basis for defamation in the US. That's why you see many of what Trump said. Person's a disaster. The media is enemy of the people. Man is a traitor. This man is terrible. He doesn't have a brain, whatever it is. Their opinion, they're not definitely deemed to be defamatory in the context of how one thinks about defaming, like in Jamaica. Here in the US, the burden of proof is on the plaintiff. This is important. The person who's bringing the suit, they have to prove that you defame them, and they have to go by the First Amendment too. Right? In the US, it's harder to prove. Now, as it indicated here also, the US courts and culture accept a wide range of speech in the political arena, even aggressive, defamatory sounding language as part of democracy, right? Democracy, you can say what you want to say, within certain limits. I don't have to bring up a Jamaica case, CC. Now, how Jamaica differs from the US. There's no First Amendment equivalent. So your speech in Jamaica isn't protected as strongly as the US First Amendment protects your speech. Right? Your speech is not as protected. You don't have them First Amendment to rely upon to protect you. In Jamaica, no actual malice standard for public figures. They can sue under regular rules. So in the US, they'll say, if you're the public domain, you must expect to get criticism. It's a democracy. In Jamaica, and the people who write this know that what they're doing, they're restricting your ability to criticize people in general, but also public officials. And by the way, when Jamaica wrote their law, the internet is also part of that whole thing. So they make sure they brought the internet into play, and not just the old written verbiage or newspaper. The internet is also part of it. So YouTube content creators, anyone who uses YouTube for do these things, is all part of the whole Jamaica law. Defendants must also prove truth, not the other way around. So the burden of proof in Jamaica is on the defendant, not the plaintiff. I have never heard this before, people. So Jamaica law is friendlier to Speid than to Butler. That's why you saw Michael Ricketts, for example. I think he had said something directly about somebody. He lost a defamation case. I don't know if he lost the case. He said he lost the case because maybe he didn't contest it, but the court deemed the plaintiff to be in the right, and we know what happened with him there. And you ask the question, well, why doesn't Trump get sued? He does get sued, but you fail to prove actual malice. Lawsuits in the US are very costly. They cost in Jamaica too much more cost in the US. And media outlets have a bunch of liars. YouTubers have a bunch of liars. Unless you like Mr. Beast and the people who have enough money. So it may be tougher. So here's a summary, quick comparative table, right? Legal standard for public figures. Actual malice required in the US. No actual malice required in Jamaica. Burden of proof on the plaintiff in the US. On the defendant in Jamaica. So if you get sued, you have to prove you're not doing something wrong. Protection for opinion strong in the US. So you give your opinion strong. Moderate in Jamaica. Constitutional free speech strong in the US First Amendment. In Jamaica, it's weaker. Right? And then here's the thing. I would just summarize this, given what Gunnar says. So if you live in the US, can you be sued in Jamaica? Yes. But it's hard. Right? It's hard for Jamaica to enforce. So people like myself and Jason Guna, if we say something, yeah, we can be sued, but it's hard for them to get remedy in Jamaica. If you live in Jamaica, though, even if you're registered in the US, the judgment happens locally. You don't have the water for save you. You can't save you if you're in the US. Right? And statement obviously targets people who are Jamaicans. If you're a Jamaican resident, Even if you live in the US, you have to be careful what you say. So I went through that actually in terms of defamation. Hopefully that was helpful. And you realize that the defamation laws in Jamaica, they not support YouTube creators. Now, if you want to call in now, because we'll stop after each segment. That was the first segment, right? We're talking about, before we call in, let me just say this. And this is important, people. Do you guys remember when Raymond Anderson was running for office? I think I heard Raymond says, who's a former JFF vice president, board member, he accused the JFF of being corrupt. You guys can remind me if I'm wrong, so I'm not defaming Raymond, but I think I have heard him accusing him of being corrupt. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong. Let me manage that. Allegedly, because he allegedly to protect himself, allegedly he accused the JFF of being corrupt. Does anybody remember that? I'm curious, people. Do you remember that? Let me know. Did he accuse the JFF of being corrupt? And if he did accuse them, here's the question, people. Why didn't they sue him? Speid is part of the JFF, right? Why didn't anybody in JFF sue Raymond and say JFF corrupt? I am curious about that. So we're suing Knockins, I'm going to call him a junior media person, because all of us in the YouTube space to me are very junior in this whole media space, right? You're going to sue Knockins, poor Knockins, frankly, but you're not sue somebody who worked in the organization for years, him say corrupt. So Dura say didn't say in those exact words. I thought he said it in the way he talked about corruption. I have to go find that video. I thought I saw it someplace, actually. So why wouldn't he be sued? And frankly, to be honest, I'm shocked that Speid hadn't sued Butler before. But if you didn't sue the person saying these things about the JFF being corrupt, but you sue Knockins, I have to empathize with Knockins. Not because I'm in the media space like Knockins. I have to empathize with Knockins. There was no lawsuit. There was no cease and desist, no legal rebuttal. I have to say, I truly can understand why Speid sued Butler, given their history of animosity towards each other and Butler's continuous accusations against him. And if it's untrue, they work it out in court. And they both have resources to do so. But I don't understand why Speid's going after a media commentator. Now, sometimes your lawyer tell you, what? Sue everybody involved, because the best way to present your case, so that may be it, right? So Speid may say in the courts, him no want nothing from Knockins. That may be the case. And I'm hearing that through the grapevine that may be the case. Him not really go after Knockins. But I'm go after but Knockins get caught up in the middle. But then Knockins have to get legal advice and get a lawyer, which will cost him money, regardless. So he's probably what they call collateral damage, right? Raymond accused him of being corrupt. He may also accuse him of being corrupt, but I do not recall. I thought it was said, actually. So maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I take that back. I thought he said they were corrupt. But the question is, will this lawsuit then silence YouTubers? How does that work? Is this lawsuit going to silence YouTubers and what they say? Now, you've always heard me say this. I don't like to accuse anybody without evidence, right? Because that's not a good thing. Nobody wants to be defamed. Nobody wants to be accused unless you have empirical evidence to substantiate that what you're bringing to the table is accurate, right? Now, Max City, the way this normally works a lot of times is that everybody gets sued who's involved in it. Because he distributed the video, So if you want to bring in the evidence, you probably got to sue him, because then he has the video, or he published a video. It's to tell the entire story. When you make a case, he may have been informed by his lawyer that he needs to sue Knockins too. Plus, he may also want to prove a point to YouTubers. Maybe a way to send chill to the YouTube community and the media community that, you know what? I can sue you if you defame me, or what's deemed to be defamation, since the burden of proof is on the plaintiff in Jamaica, not the defendant. No, I'm sorry. The burden of proof is on the person who the suit is brought against, not the person who's bringing the suit. The man says, you got it wrong, because a person doesn't sue another, you don't sue them. The JFF want people that they should sue people if they continue to defame them. More cautious. Craig Butler was cautious. What am I not talking about? Don't stop chat nonsense. Craig Butler, cautious. Good evening. Hello. How are you doing? I'm not hearing you, so something is wrong here. Wait, hold up. One second. I'm hearing you, but I'm not hearing you. So let me try to pull this up. No. It's okay. Go ahead.
How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing very good. You're taking a big bite out of that cherry today.
What cherry? I'm trying to bring information to the audience.
Yeah. So I'm listening to you have the discussion, and I don't know, very early on I thought you were giving legal advice, but hey, you know.
I said at the outset, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not trying to be a lawyer. I said at the outset. So maybe you weren't listening.
And then you said somebody should settle. So, but that's all right. You know what? You know what I want to add to the conversation. I think I've listened to a number of YouTubers have discussion about this very same topic. And you, of course, is trying to provide an explanation for defamation. I think I'm sitting listening to it, and I only want to share that I think war has been declared on that YouTube community. And I don't think you guys realize that. Okay? They are shutting that down. They caught you all napping. I believe a long time ago, you all should have created an organization to work together. But that does not exist at the moment. And they have declared war because when you put what you're discussing right now together with the fact that I heard somebody on one of the channels saying the other day that they were told that if you bad talk certain organizations, you wouldn't get press passes to attend the media passes. I've seen that before back in 2005 or 2006. And that instruction is probably coming from the top. And I think they have declared war on you guys, and nobody is going to be able to speak in that space like you all did before to hold people accountable. So I think this is the end of these conversations.
So let me just say this, because I think people don't realize this, which is YouTubers may be critical, and rightly so a lot of times, of the whatever it is, whether it's the administration, whether it's the politicians, whether it's how things are done in certain, they're critical, but they also give flowers when flowers are due. If the JFF is going to be in their feelings and not realize the value that YouTube keep them relevant a lot of times, then that's up to them if they're not smart enough to realize that the YouTubers add a lot of value. You hear Dennis Chung say, that's why I like Dennis Chung, because you hear Dennis Chung says that a lot, right? You see Dennis Chung trying to have a reach out to Supporters Club and YouTubers, and he comes on the channel and he sends his people on the channel because he realized the power of social media and the value it can have. If you're an old dinosaur and you're in your feelings when you do things and you get called out, that's on you. But you're right. If you're going to be sued, you're going to have to employ a lawyer to protect you and to defend you. And we know legal services are very expensive, regardless of where you're domiciled. Then, yeah, it can actually put a dent in being critical of any organization, frankly, including the JFF. And frankly, what's even more damning is when you have laws which is not protecting democracy. Let me just say that out loud. I think defamation law in Jamaica were written by certain parties to shut people up, so they can't get criticized. So therefore, you say something, you go to court, you get silenced. That's a way of silencing people. That's not a democracy. And that's obvious to me. That's why the First Amendment in the US is such an imperative, because it doesn't mean that you should go out. I've always said this. Don't defame people. Don't make an accurate comment. But you should be able to criticize. And sometimes criticism can be gray as to what's defamatory versus what's not. And one second, I dropped you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would speculate that the reason that the YouTuber is part of that lawsuit is to inject fear into you guys, right? Which is actually what is happening, because everybody now behavior has changed considerably in terms of how they talk about things. And I think this was spoken about. This is a plan. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that you guys need to realize that you're at war.
Yeah. So for example, when I call Rudolph Speid conflicts boss, I wouldn't mind him suing me for calling him conflicts boss. Because let me say this to you people, which people don't realize. You got to be very careful now. When you bring a lawsuit, you also expose yourself, right? I think the reason why I think Butler also welcomed the lawsuit, because he's been frustrated over the years about how things work and the conflicting role, which I'm going to talk about next, that Rudolph plays. And I think Rudolph now is in that seat and he has some resources and he brings his suit and he feels good. I think what he doesn't realize, he's bringing a lot of eyes and publicity outside this space on the conflicting role he plays between Cavaliers and the JFF. I'm going to talk about that next. When you do these things, you got to tell, when you bring a case, it's vast land, it's open, anything goes. So the judge allows certain evidence to be presented. And what Butler is going to probably use is some circumstantial evidence to say, over the years, and he brings in his little kids to say whatever they say. Not saying there's anything wrong, but he's going to have his evidence to substantiate. He said, she said about some things that happened. He brought the Forbes situation and the kid being led of the national team. Who knows if that's true or not? But the kid said XYZ and Rudolph said XYZ. Is his word against Rudolph, right? You may have no evidence to substantiate that. I assume that Rudolph has some evidence written and that he can use in his defense or in the case that he has brought. But it's really interesting to see what will transpire. Can you hear me here? Which I'm going to talk about tonight again, the whole conflict situation. We'll see how that materializes.
Well, I hope there's an opportunity for you guys take this opportunity to get together and create an umbrella organization that could create some kind of protection for you all, as otherwise the way that this community exists is going to change considerably. Just like I think I've said before in our conversations, that I think it's time for the Caribbean to have a foreign policy, as opposed to Jamaica having a foreign policy, Trinidad having a foreign policy, Barbados, everybody have the. When you get together and do things together, you can have more of an impact. You get more respect, right? As individuals, you're an individual. This one is an individual. Next one is an individual. I think it's very easy to conquer. So let me say this,
because before the game is talking about YouTubers and how we are exposed. Sorry, I think we're missing the big picture here. So before the game is not wrong about that exposure for YouTubers, and we've talked about it. If you're in the US, you're much more protected, right? That's a fact. So if you don't go back to Jamaica to go visit somebody in the US, it's hard to reach across the pond. You can, but it's very difficult, as I showed. Let me say this, though, people. It's not just the YouTubers. Those of you in the comment section, and someone who likes to say certain things because I don't have no filter, you're exposed too. You think it's just the YouTubers exposed? Because not that YouTubers will say things, but sometimes they have evidence. Some of you in the chat, like running them out. Let me talk some part one now, like running them out and say things because you don't care. If you're living in Jamaica, even if you live in the US, Canada, whatever you live, but if you live in Jamaica especially, and you want to defame people, you can't hide it because the evidence is here. And it's a person on the video. And even then, somebody may have clipped it and recorded it. So don't feel safe just the YouTubers them exposed now. Everybody exposed. That's always been out there because Jamaican law was in 2013. It's always meant to protect certain people. That's a fact. And it was written away to protect certain people. Okay, see in the US, the protection for public figures is much less than for the normal citizen. In Jamaica, everybody is equitable. There is no preferential situation when it comes to this. So, yeah. But I understand what you're saying before the game. There's strength in numbers. I understand that.
But last thing before I go, you've got to look at this. Not you don't have to, but there's an opportunity to observe this from a different perspective. In 2005, I think it was just around the same time. Okay, just around the same time, just before Trinidad went to the World Cup. In an article, it still exists out there. It was put out that, we had an investigative reporter that was investigating things in football and writing articles and whatever the case may be. And the way he was stopped is that he was not able to get media pass to go to the World Cup. That's out there in an article. That's public information, right? And according to the article, that information came from the top, right? That directive to not give him a media pass.
Of course, those in power control that. So, by the way, people, that's another thing too. So, I don't need no media pass to go on game. I tell people that right now. If you're JFF, we don't need a media pass to go on game. I'll say that right now. I'm not covering them all.
You see, This is
So
the problem.
I would go to the game and do my media stuff without a media pass. But if you're media, I don't know what the criteria is to give a pass. How is the decision made? Yeah.
Frankie, again, this is the thing that we have to avoid, right? There's certain things that in society that you should have access to. And if you're a media person, you should have access to an event that you cover that allow you to cover that event. And if you're saying that because you are self-sufficient, you don't need it, what about the other dozen or half a dozen media people that needs it to go? So but
Andre, I don't see New York Times and the Washington Post and the Wall Street Journal all collating and come together to do these things. They do it individually, right?
But they are part of an organization, right? They must be part of an organization.
Yeah, they may be part of Reuters or whatever it is. They may be part of some media organization, but we don't. So here's the thing too. The question is but what you should be asking the question is hold up. What you should be asking is, can the YouTubers become part of that organization? Because it's a media organization. That's the question that should be asked.
Right. Whatever the question is, I don't know. I don't necessarily know the answer. All I know that there's something wrong about how it exists right now, especially with this situation. And we have the opportunity to observe similar organizations in different parts of the world, right? That do these things and they get respect and they create organization or they join organization. So whatever it is, all this is about is about us as a people in the region being able to work together, right? And this is great. I believe that this space no longer would be able to serve the purpose it set out to serve going forward after this situation.
Yeah, look, I do believe scrutiny drives improvement, right? When you're scrutinized and people bring out your flaws, if you have any ambition, if you have any desire to improve, you're going to try to change and improve and get better. And I think that's what YouTube does in a lot of cases. Now, some people sometimes are irresponsible in these spaces and say things they shouldn't say. But having said that, I think it provides more value than it does what I call detriment. And I am not going to say that this was brought to shut us up, but that's part of what you see that will occur. Right? That's what my people are like, you know what? I don't want to say certain things. It's going to cause me harm because nobody wants to spend money on a lawyer when they don't have to. Nobody wants to have to spend time in court and defend themselves when they don't have to. I think the JFF will lose more without YouTube than they will gain from not having YouTube. I think so. I think YouTube helped them get better. You hear Dennis come on the program and talk about some things that they hear and some things that they leverage to improve. I think it drives sustained improvement versus you doing things behind closed door, nobody knows, and you think you're doing well, but you're not doing well.
So do you think that they would change, that any organization would change without that scrutiny?
Some will. I mean, it all depends on leadership, you know. It's not just because you have scrutiny. If you have good leadership, excellent leadership.
So let's talk about this organization. So let's be specific.
Well, Trinidad, Jamaica.
Right. Do you think they would change without either of them? Do you think they would change without the scrutiny?
I think they will change, but I'm not sure the change will be as expeditious or as material that it needs to be. Right.
So if the scrutiny goes away, right, and with the scrutiny, it's not going to be as expeditious, to use your word. If the scrutiny goes away, what happens with change?
Well, if you're not being scrutinized, then you have more latitude. All right. Can you guys hear me now? I don't know what happened. That my stream is shorting too. It's keep popping out. I'm getting sued. I don't think I'm getting sued yet. Wait, hold up. Even if you guys can hear me, no, they're saying no audio, but I can hear you and you can hear me. I don't know what's happening. You guys can hear me? I can hear me now. I don't know what happened. My Zoom machine keeps turning off. I don't even touch it. It just keeps. So I gotta go look at it after we finish with the stream because it looked like it's shorting out actually. Anything else, Andre, before you go?
No, I'm good. I just wanted to share that because I think the conversation should be about how you all continue to exist despite this and be able to bring to the people that listen to you all the information that you need to bring to the table. So, but that's all.
All right. Appreciate the call, sir.
All right, brother. Take care.
Yeah, it's interesting. As I said before, people, I'm not going to go past 2 hours today. I already am an hour in. The next section may take an hour, may not take an hour. So I have 6 topics to discuss. If I get to 3, I'll finish the other 3 tomorrow. Maybe I can figure out what's wrong with my system because I don't know what's wrong here. But yeah, so in summary, in terms of the defamation case, as I said before, I do feel for Knockins because I'm a YouTuber. Not because I'm a YouTuber, because anybody who may not have the financial resources to defend themselves and they be taken to a court of law, it's tough. It's tough. You're going to spend money you don't have in the first place, right? You're going to spend money you don't have. You're going to spend money which you could be using for other purposes. It's just not a good look. It's not a good look. So Knockins, I feel for your brother, but it happens. Jeremy said they're trying to silence me. Yeah, well, I don't think it's me. I think this is YouTubers in general who are going to be in a very challenging situation. Let me say this, for example. I'm going to go to the next topic, actually. But on the whole defamation, we'll see how it plays out. Right? Somebody owing and says Butler paying his lawyer's fees. Really? I haven't heard that. Granero says we can do a GoFundMe for Knockins. You want to start the GoFundMe, Granero? I'll contribute. I don't know if you start the GoFundMe. Conor said JFF said virus. I know, right? My system will just start messing up. I know why. Need a YouTube union. I'm not a union person, I will admit. Unions are interesting. I can't say I'm a YouTube. I'm a union person. But it's unfortunate, people. It's unfortunate. Now, as I said before, you know, the Butler, Rudolph conflict, public discourse, back and forth, especially in these forums, is toxic, right? It's toxic, and it needs to stop. It needs to, I don't know about stop, but it needs to simmer down significantly. And maybe the lawsuit will shut up somebody. But they shut up the defendant or plaintiff. Somebody should need to calm down, right? Somebody need to calm down. And sometimes you need to be, the court of law can cool you down. So anyway, let's go to the conflicting, because this is important. All right, let's go to the conflicting. Because I think this is important. I know I brought up conflict before, but I always have a little bit different spin on this. So Speid is suing, and I call him out a lot of times. I'm surprised he hasn't sued me for defamation when I say he's conflicted. I found that interesting, actually. So Speid, I've talked about this before. I'm going to talk about it again because it's important to talk about it. I think it's going to come up in the trial that they have for the defamation suit, if it gets the trial, because Jamaica law just allow for mediation. I'll get to the Dennis Strong component to Tycoon if I have time. As I said before, I'm only doing another 45 minutes. If I don't get to it, I'm going to finish the show tomorrow. I have 6 topics. I expect to get through 2 today or 3. I don't think I'll get through all 6. So let's talk about this. Rudolph Speid is the head coach for Cavalier Football Club. He's the sporting director for Cavalier Football Club. He's the owner for Cavalier Football Club. He's also the chairperson of the JFF Technical Committee, responsible for national coaching appointments and development. Now, he'll tell you his team go out, identify coaches, bring them to some committee, and they select them. Let him tell you when he's ever bring forward a coach and the committee says no, or the board says no. I would love to hear that time. That's a direct conflict of interest, people. Direct conflict of interest, right? There's no ambiguity about that. It's a direct conflict of interest. Now, he's pushed back on me when I talk about this and basically says, well, FIFA has come in, they haven't said anything, he signed some register. He's competing at a club level while making decisions that impact rival coaches and players in national team. That's why Raymond Butler also have a problem with people. That's part of the issue. So let me do this. Let me play this. I'm going to show you something.
Is that one of the reasons?
Yes, because Rudolph Speid, I love Rudolph Speid. He's one of the persons who attend our coaching school. And I'm telling you, over the 2 leg, he has given us a hard time. And I'm seeing him doing a lot of things that he would have learned in the coaching school.
So as a follow-up to Howie, so your coaching school turning out good coaches, you're looking for local coach for the national program, you be the technical director.
And that's always the aim. As soon as they are qualified enough, that's always the aim.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, well.
Rudolph Speid.
So let me say something, people. This is concerning. People, you guys just realize what transpired? There's a reason why I play this. You guys just realize what transpired? A coach just finished a football game, right? He's being interviewed. The press, which include YouTubers, asked him a question about coaching, and he mentioned Rudolph Speid, who coached at Portmore, and he talks about how Rudolph is doing well. And the question was asked about local coaches who are qualified coaching the national team. I don't think you guys realize what just transpired. All right, some of you may. You are a coach just like Rudolph Speid. You are a coach just like Teagat from Mobi. You're a coach just like Whitmore from Mount Pleasant. Yet you have the power to determine who coach the national team, even whether that's set of people or other people. And you are their peer, but you also can be their boss. Does that make any sense to anybody? Like, where's the traditional media? Where is LSM? Look at Shartman. Where look at Shartman there? Where's Lucas Shartman? Who have him program, I'm calling program Sports Explosion. Where is he to bring these things out in the public domain and say this can't be right, people? Do people realize it's like, I'm gonna give you an example. Eddie Howe from Newcastle is English. He coaches Newcastle. So if Eddie Howe was the owner of Newcastle, the sporting director of Newcastle, the coach of Newcastle, but he also manages the FA technical construct. He oversees it. And he makes a decision who's going to coach England. And also probably make decision, which is probably going to be part of his overall purview, about who play for the national team. Does that make sense to anyone? Like, am I living in an alternate universe? I don't understand. People, we have 163 in the chat. We have 128 likes, 223 likes. That cannot be right. Maybe my eyes are deceiving me because I'm getting a little bit seasoned. You can see my gray hair. But people do better than that. But does that make any sense, people? That's why I played that video. He's being interviewed after a game. He just beat a peer. And he can also decide the fate of that peer for the national team. Does that make any sense to anyone? How can this be allowed to continue? I deem it to be inconceivable. And I think Butler going to use a part of his defense when he goes to court to defend himself against the defamation charge. Should one person, let me understand, people, should one person, let me chat, do this. Should one person be allowed to coach a club while running the technical direction of a national football program? Type yes or no. Move on for no. And here's another thing to people. What I'm curious about, because it doesn't make any sense to me. When you think about the national program, technical concept of programming of people, he's not just a cheer, you know. Because I've had discussion with people, him run the whole thing. Him run it. Downswell's supposed to be the technical director. Rudolph, as my understanding, I've been told, makes the decision. That's how I was told. He makes the decisions. A lot of decisions he made. Now, people may say that if you make decisions, somebody make decisions, you say that's defamation, that's defamation. Whatever you want to call it. These are shut up YouTubers. I don't know how anybody in any country that has a football program could allow this to continue. People who are cranky don't like Rudolph. I have nothing against Rudolph. I keep saying this 101 times. Rudolph is my first interview. Very good interview. Rudolph stayed up till 1 o'clock that morning to the interview. I have a lot of respect for Rudolph in a lot of sense. I don't have a lot of respect for this situation to occur. So let me just do this, people. Let me do this. I want to show you something. Let me can't find this. I want to show you something. Because say me can't pull this up. Say me like AI, right? So here's what I did. I went to 3 AI sites. I typed in, here's the question I asked people. Now read this. Is there a conflict of interest in a situation where someone is the owner and coach? This is AI people. Objective, impartial, get information, code it, and give it back to you. I asked AI this question because I want to say, you know what? Maybe Cranky, you're being too harsh, you know. People say no objection when it comes to speech. So just put nice system on yourself. Is there a conflict of interest in a situation where someone is the owner and coach of a football club in Jamaica and is also serving as the chairman of Jamaica Football Federation Technical Committee, which plays a role in selecting the national team's head coach? I didn't say selecting, I said plays a role, right? So I made it very generic. If so, how should the conflict be addressed? Here's what the answer said, people. Me not make this up now. Yes, this is AI saying this now. I put it in ChatGPT first. I'll pay a fee for that. Then I went to Perplexity to get independent, and then I went to Gemini. They all come back with very similar responses, all about substantively the same here. Very few nuances difference. Very few nuance difference. It says, yes, this scenario represents a clear conflict of interest, and it should be addressed decisively for the integrity of the sport and the fairness of decision-making processes in Jamaican football. That's when you hear Butler, even though he's loud and he can be obnoxious, because I say that, he has a point. Now, you may shut him up with the defamation suit, because when he presents himself sometimes, doesn't really resonate with people and offend people, but he has a point about the conflict. And I have something, like a tidbit here I'm going to give to you. And I say, the question is, why is it a conflict? Dual roles with overlapping influence. As owner and coach of a club, the individuals have vested interest in that club's success. He's the owner and the coach and the sporting director. I didn't even say sporting director when I asked AI. As chairman of the JFF Technical Committee, the same individual influences coaching appointments and player selection for the national team. I didn't even tell the system that it's a player selection. The system actually generates that information because I smile when it puts this up. The man says it is the problem with AI junk code. So I'm gonna bite my tongue with the man, because if you don't understand AI and use AI well, then you're gonna be left behind. You're a dinosaur. You really don't matter. If you don't understand how AI work and use AI well, whoever you are, you're a dinosaur, and you won't serve much use to society. Trust me. So you can be defending who you want to defend, the man. It's probably football guru or one of you people, but you ain't got no sense. That's what I'm gonna tell you that. You get me perturbed, because when people make these asinine comments, I get upset. Anyway, potential for bias or perception. Look, what AI says is what I've been saying for a while. I just want to get an independent perspective. It creates real or perceived advantage for players, staff, from the individual's club. At one point, when you have the under 20, the manager, the goalkeeper coach, the person the fitness person, all of them come from Cavaliers. That's not by chance. Now, maybe Cavaliers have all the best people, because they're the best in Jamaica in terms of what they do in the Caribbean. But does that make sense to anybody? It creates real or perceived advantages for players, staff from the individual's club. It damages public trust in JFF's fairness and transparency. Those things are not debatable. So whoever this person, the man, is making a comment, you know what? I'm not going to pacify. You're a moron. Sorry. Anyway, undermines good governance principles. Conflicts with FIFA and CONCACAF guidelines emphasizing separation of powers and avoidance of bias. This is a FIFA and CONCACAF now. I think that lawsuit is going to do more good than harm at the end of the day, given what's transparent. Here's something I picked up, which I didn't realize, people. You see, I have a note here. What the note say? The Kingston and St. Andrew Football Association explicitly called for the resignation of a JFF Technical Committee chairman. This is from AI now, who was also a major shareholder and coach of a top-flight club, citing clear lines of conflict of interest. Cassava argued that such dual roles are untenable because the individual is privy to sensitive information and could be seen as prioritizing club interests over national interests. So there are actually people in Jamaica who has brought this up before, but it hasn't gone anywhere because I guess no one of influence over JFF. A football guru, I'm gonna ban you when I'm done with this. You can come on here under 101 assumed name. The way you write is always the same. Your attributes and how you operate are always the same. So when I'm done, I'm gonna keep banning you. You can come under 100 different names. I'm gonna keep banning you. You're a scum. That's all I'll say. How should it be addressed? Mandatory disclosure. I've said this. All these things that come up here, people. I've said it before. And don't give me no hard time about what I'm saying. The football guru. He's a scum, and me now bite my tongue. Mandatory disclosure. Public disclosure of the dual roles to promote transparency. That's just one. This is remediation being suggested by AI, which is what I've suggested a number of times. I've said this before. So this is AI independent of me providing this, and this is 3 AI, not 1 AI. And you're gonna come tell me about what AI right or wrong. I know what AI right or wrong, what AI is right or wrong. I use AI every single day. Anyway, you know what? Here's what I would do. Okay. Annoying. Recusal from specific decisions. Refrain from participating in decisions related to national team selections or appointment involving their club. Right? These are just prudent measures to take. Code of ethics. The JFF should have a robust conflict of interest policy requiring regular declarations of interest, which they say they do, and clear procedures for managing conflicts, including mandatory abstention from conflict decisions. The first part, the JFF may have. The second part, I haven't seen it. If the conflict cannot be fully eliminated, the Federation should implement strict oversight and transparency measures to monitor the individual's actions and ensure decisions are made in the best interest of the sport as a whole. And last but not least, the person could consider relinquishing their role to ensure public trust and governance integrity. The individual should stop from one of the conflicting roles, meaning you give up your role in Cavaliers, I give up a role with the JFF. So I did summarize this in a table. If you're a club owner, as a serve technical director, leave one of the role of them. Or recuse yourself from any decision that relates to that may affect you and your club, which may include even selecting national players in pools or whatever it is. You have to disclose the personal or institutional interests. So declare all relevant meetings and decision-making processes. In terms of your decision participation, you have to recuse yourself or be absent from certain decisions being made. If you continue to do a role, then there has to be stringent oversight and process to ensure that you're not manipulating your role or misusing the role. And last but not least, if you can't effectively mitigate the risk associated with you playing the dual role, then you should leave the role, one of the roles. And you're not going to leave Cavaliers, you should leave the JFF. Right? That's the whole conflict thing. But anyway, that's the conflict, people. And I'm very surprised in Jamaica that this has not been addressed yet. Now, I was informed by someone who is well associated that in order to fix this, the president has to address it. It can't be addressed. And I also was told that FIFA expect the president to address it. And when you hear people come on and says, oh, well, FIFA done the audit, I guess FIFA doesn't want to get involved, but they expect the president to address it, but it has not been addressed. Right? It's not been addressed, which is interesting. And it's unfortunate, people. Because if you are coaching one of the teams in Jamaica and you have aspiration for national coach, you have done really well. If you are a player for a club other than Cavaliers, it may not be the case, but you could have viewed that, you know what, I wasn't selected because I don't play for Cavaliers, or whatever it is. In form, that's how it appears. In substance, it may be different. Rudolph may not influence the process, but I've been told that there are allegations that he's influenced the process. Right? That he influenced the process. Now, some of you may be mad with me for blocking the man, and you may say, I'm not coming back to crank his channel. Well, just like you, I'm thinking about closing this channel down. So we're probably in the same place. We and I are probably in the same place. I've been thinking about closing this channel down for the last 4 months, and I may do so. Because sometimes you just want to put up with the nonsense. So I'm going to keep doing it for a little while and see how it works out. But I ain't let nobody come in here and try to change the narrative and try to protect people who don't need protection. You don't need no protection. You can come here and criticize. You can come here and express your views. You have your own opinion. But if your views are in one way, shape, or form to defend the indefensible, I don't want to engage with you. I don't want you part of my forum. You should unsubscribe. I have no problem with you unsubscribing. There's nothing with criticizing. There's nothing with that adversarial view. There's nothing with have a different opinion. I welcome that, actually. Who wants some monolithic situation? But if your sole purpose is to come and be disruptive, then you shouldn't be part of the conversation. Especially sometimes you don't know what you're talking about, but you think you know everything about everything. It's not a good thing. Now, let me say this too. Let me go to another point. Here's the third segment, people, because this is important. And I'm not going to talk about this today. I'm going to put off the show to tomorrow because I'm almost at 8:30. But I want to do a comparative at some point. In fact, I may finish by 8:30 tonight. You have heard, and I wasn't going to jump to this yet, but I'm going to jump to it now. You have heard that Dennis Strong may be leaving the JFF, right? And what I did was try to gather and collate Dennis's accomplishments. So I think about JFF key roles, the technical director. Good question, DC. I haven't looked at that, DC, but good question. I have to look into that. There is the whole idea of there is the technical director, our technical committee and director, and the GenSec, to me, are, apart from the president, are the most key roles in any football administration organization. And what I tried to do was a comparative between what has been accomplished in the technical area of the JFF and what's been accomplished in the GenSec area. Now, in some organization, the GenSec is next to the president and cover everything. In the JFF organization, that's not how it works, right? And historically, that's how it used to be. But some organizations have sort of changed that construct, right? And it's been interesting. So what I did was I looked into how have we done on the football field, especially at junior level, where we don't have diaspora players, in the last year or two. And this is under Rudolph's watch, right? It's under Rudolph's watch. Tycoon said, Dennis Strong, they mad with you because you restrict their spending. We're going to get into that, people. We'll get into that at some point. It may not be tonight. No, come join me tomorrow. We'll get into that because I'm going to cut off the show pretty soon. Because I want to just do the conflict and the defamation, put a little bit different spin on it than I've seen before. Have the conversation. Tomorrow we're going to come and talk about Dennis, the whole coaching program that Trinidad administers, and a couple more things. But let me just say this before I go. I looked into how the football is operating, right? In comparison to how the GenSec role is operating, GenSec duties are operating. And what I found was almost night and day. And I want to give justice to the discussion and conversation and not be superficial in having a conversation as it relates to the GenSec role. And I won't go into the technical director's role. I would just talk about outcome. So I wouldn't even go to the GenSec role. I would talk about what the GenSec has accomplished over the last 3 years he's been there versus what we see from the technical side and what's been accomplished or not accomplished. I think that's very important. Right? What is my cranky regards? Boys reactor is football guru. Yeah, I am not even looking in the chat now. I'm just talking, so I haven't got there yet, but that's okay. No, football guru just like to be disruptive. He's like another person that hopefully don't come back to the channel because, as I said before, I don't have a problem with diverse opinion, diverse perspective. People don't agree with me, but your sole purpose can just to be an instigator and a disruptor versus add valuable perspective that may be different, but we all can learn from and we all can react to. Right? Chris Simmons says Dennis did a real good job. Yeah, look, I don't know if Dennis is leaving. It was published in, I think I read it in, was it Gleaner? No, they didn't confirm he's leaving anyway. I think the president said basically, and I have it someplace, but I don't want to pull it up now. I have it someplace actually. I think the president actually talked about that and talked about the fact that he may have had a conversation with Dennis as yet, actually, that dialogue. But let me say this before I go, which is this, because I'm going in the next couple of minutes. Let me say a couple of things. You know what? I'll take one more call before I go. But let me just say this about the conflict, actually, which is this. If you look at our junior teams, if you look at our infrastructure, our youth programs, our grassroots football, our junior teams, please tell me how they're doing. Maybe the only thing that's effective is the quota system, because you do a good job of keeping out people of Jamaican ancestry and descent from the football team. Right? It may be the only thing that actually is effective when it comes to youth football, because the sure is not on the field. So what I'm going to do tomorrow is this, because I'm going to close the program down soon. Tomorrow is this. I'm going to talk about that comparative, but hopefully I have time to really do a real good comparative, because I didn't get a chance to do. I have the Dennis accomplishments that I know of. I have some of the information about the junior team and how they perform. And then I have some information about how Trinidad view the coaching program that they administer, which I find very interesting. And I'll play that video tomorrow, which I find interesting. And I'm very disappointed. If Dennis is truly leaving, I am extremely, extremely disappointed. Because look, a lot of us are here, most if not all of us are here, because we actually love Jamaica football. We want the football to do well. We felt good about some of the accomplishments that occurred, taking us off, restriction, going concern, going away, money rolling in, sponsors rolling in. And I'll talk about all of those tomorrow. So it's very disappointing when you then realize that this person who's the architect of all of this may actually be leaving. And the question is, if he's leaving, which we haven't got confirmation yet, why is he leaving? So before the game, try to put me on the spot. So Optan says, can you tell me how to get the app with you? Paying anyone to watch the record. Optan, actually, you know what, people? Here's what's funny, people. So I signed up for the $9.99 a month. It's coming on my account. I don't even know how to. I don't know what account I went under, because I can't get into the site. I think I've paid for 3 months now. I don't know how to get into the site. Whatever account I went under, because I have a number of accounts, I don't know how to get into the site from my account I mainly use, because it blocks me. I can't even cancel it if I wanted to, because I don't know. When you go to, I checked with JFF, they say I got to go to YouTube. I try to go to YouTube, I'm not getting a response. So if somebody out there can help me with this to fix this, because I don't know how to access the JFF site, or if I want to cancel the account because I can't access the site, how to do so. No, I try to stop paying, and my bank asked me if I checked with the organization, and I can't lie and say I did, because I didn't, because I don't know how to get in touch with them. So I got to figure it out, Dr. Don. I got to figure it out. It's on your YouTube subscription. No, I didn't really see it. Whatever account I went under, it's not that account. So you see Jason going to laugh at me like he normally does. He's going to say, yep. So I happen to old people. They don't know anything. So yeah, maybe that's the case, Jason, I didn't go to my YouTube subscription. I gotta go check it out. I don't think it's under my cranky setup. I don't know what it is. Owen say he can't. Okay, Owen, I'm gonna check it out on Owen. I'm gonna check it out. I'm trying to figure it out because I don't. Look, I think what the JFF probably should do. So JFF, here's an idea. I'm gonna just give it to you. It just popped in my head. You probably should work with the YouTubers to get some content that you can also use in your channel, actually, that they may not publish to the world. Or you do some kind of partnership to do so. There's so much opportunities, people, to JFF to maximize revenues and for everybody to benefit if we really try to work as a collective versus individuals. I think I understand what before the game was saying about the YouTubers need to get together, maybe unionize or organize or whatever noise. But sometimes that's very hard to do. Everybody want to have their own say and do their own thing. I don't think we have tried, but also YouTubers sometimes have their conflict, which you see with the conflicts we have is not unique, right? You see Steve Naismith and Charles Barkley have conflicts. So the conflict we have in our space, it's just human beings engaging certain ways, but there has to be a way in which we need to work with the JFF, but they need to also understand the JFF that, you know what? You don't get your flaws when you do well, but you're going to get what Jamaica call beat when you don't do well. That's life. And I've heard people in the public domain says, you know what? I expect nothing less. So when the JFF come out and beat them chest with the under 15, win the Caribbean Championship, but silent on the under 20, getting slaughtered, it has to be called out. That's not defamation. That's just facts. So Hopeton, when I find out Hopeton, I'll come back to you. I'll come back to the channel and talk about it. Chorus says, no, Chorus, that will never happen. I'm not even, no. First of all, people, let me just say this. If you are not residing in Jamaica, if you have aspirations for political role or any major role, like in the JFF, you have to live in Jamaica for like 10 years. They made it such a way in which they create what we call barriers to entry. You can't get to be involved because they block you. I don't have any aspirations to do that, I'll be honest. But they block you, right? Which is sad because what you have really done, and I've said this before, you export all this intellectual capital overseas. That capital has done well in some cases, extremely well in other cases, and you get no benefit from it. The only people who get benefit is the country they went to live and work and be employed, because you have blocked them from participating in your society. You hear me interview Erwin Clear, what was it, about a month and a half, 2 months ago, who run Team Jamaica Bickle, and he's involved in pen relays and has immigration service. As Erwin sort of said, I'm going to paraphrase him, they want your money, they don't want you and your ideas. Right? Hey, Jason Guna. Mr. Jason Guna. Me can't come hard, Jason. You come from each other and beat me, See me, I laugh with Jason. Jason's a cool person. But Jason, me I come from your channel and beat you next time. Hey, Jason, can you know me come from your channel all the time? Sometimes me are silent, right? Jason, you can't miss. Old people and Jason can have experience. Me I'll beat you, Jason. You ever say? I come beat you in the rapping game. Me I'll beat you. In fact, you know what I do? Every show, me I'll play your rap and play my rap. You go on pick for me. Hear Jason? Every show, I'll play my rap and play your rap for sure. Say, boy, the old man can do something better than you. But bless up, Jason. Bless up. Hey, Jason, I may be down your way now in the next week or so. So if you're around the area, Jason, where West Indian Congress, no live out no Fayetteville area, Jason. Let's link, Jason. All right, Jason. If you're home, Jason, where you reside, I should be down in that vicinity, maybe in the next week or just over a week or so. So let me know. We can link up, forget dinner or lunch or something. Well, not dinner, lunch or something, because we can't see if we drive a night anymore. So I have to match that. And if somebody else show for me, I might take Uber or something. But I'm not driving either, people. I'm flying. Man, I got to get some pills to put me to sleep. But I'm going to fly down to Jason's area. So let me know, Jason. What's Chris saying? Chris says, I remember when Speid was bragging about how good the under 18 is, and when they got 10 love, we didn't hear him came on. Yeah, that happens a lot of times, people. You look good when you play against yourself. They get brave. No, people, you know what I did, people? I said to myself, you know what? I was thinking about driving down to Jason's World. I'm going to call it Jason's World. And it's going to take me 14 hours. And I said to myself, okay, if I take, to the time to go to the airport is 2 hours. The flight is 2.5 hours. That's 4.5 hours. Leaving the airport might be an hour. So I'm going to spend 14 hours on the road, maybe longer, versus 6 hours. I'm just going to have to bite my tongue and just deal with the pressure. Right? And then just manage it. Because I may go to Jamaica too. I haven't totally decided. I may go to Jamaica. So I'm practicing. Jason, your trip is like half the distance. Not half the distance, about 6% of the time. So I'm gonna do that trip first as a warm up to if I go to Jamaica trip. But I don't smoke or drink. That's why I struggle when I fly long distance, Jason. When I used to fly to Asia, I don't drink, so I only drink water. I don't even drink soda. Hey, Owen. People, let me just say this because people don't realize that. So it's not really flying I hate. I hate heights. I can't. My family has a height phobia. I'm gonna give you an example. I said this before, way back when. I was driving in Florida with my mom, God rest her soul, years ago. We're going over a bridge, right? My family, my sisters like that too. Heights are a problem for us. I got off the bridge. I think I was driving from Fort Lauderdale to Pembroke Pines. We're on a bridge. I got off the bridge. My mom was driving behind me. I don't see my mom. I was like, what the hell is happening? Where is she? I called her. She stopped in the middle of the bridge. She's like, I looked down and I can't move. I was like, you need to get off that bridge because people are going to run you over. So I had to talk her down from the bridge. She was driving. People stopped in the middle of the bridge. She got nervous. So I'm not as bad as that. But I think it's a family thing. Maybe some genes in the family that run amok. We have a problem with heights. So when you go up and flying, that just makes it worse. Can't drink rum. Oh no, I don't drink rum. I'm not gonna drink rum. I've always thought that people who drink. Okay, so this is gonna sound bad, and you guys gonna beat me about this. I've always thought throughout my life that people can't influence people to do things that I don't want to do. And I always thought that peer pressure was what forced people to smoke or drink most times, and nobody can give me peer pressure. I'm not deal with peer pressure, so I never drank. And if you went to the military like I did and you don't drink, that's an accomplishment. Trust me. Here's the thing, I shut my eyes. Delta has Wi-Fi, so I will use the Wi-Fi. But sometimes I go up on the Wi-Fi, I go up on my iPad, why isn't the flight just done? I hate flying. I can't even think about it. I don't want to think about it. You guys don't remind me. Let me keep going. Let me finish the stream by saying this. First of all, yes, Nitro, I call it positive. First of all, thanks for being here. I appreciate being here. I will be back tomorrow. This is like a setup, This is a two-part series to talk about the technical aspect of the JFF, the possibility of Chung leaving and the implications. And then I have something a little bit on Trinidad in terms of the coaching program that they administer and what that entails, and some of the aspects too that I want to talk about. And then we'll take calls. All right. So, Dr. Dan don't drink. Hey, me love my doctor don't drink now. You don't want no cardiologist operate on me, Dr. Dan, and you drink. You're not unsteady. So a good thing that. So everyone, thanks for being here. Appreciate you being here. Please hit the like button before you leave. We'll come back tomorrow and talk more about some of these things. I'll recap what we talked about today. And I'll talk about the possibility of Chung leaving and what that entails. As I said, I had 6 topics to talk about. I want to talk about 2, because I thought they were going to take most of the time. But the whole discussion about Chung tomorrow will take some time, and about the technical director, the technical committee and what it does, right? So I appreciate you guys. So Granera says, Ambien, Sonata, Lunesta, or melatonin. Yeah, I used to take a lot of Ambien when I fly overseas, but my doctors nowadays refuse to give me these things because they're prescription, right? They're prescription pills. They refuse to give it to me. I ask them and they look at me like I have 2 heads. But anyway, people, have a good evening. I know Arnett Gardens was playing today. Somebody texted me today and said, you know what? You're doing your show at 7. Arnett playing at 7. And I thought, well, Arnett is intruding on my time. That's how I think. It's really bad. And secondly, most of the people who watch my program, over 50%, are based in the US and Canada. They're not based in Jamaica. I have much more of an audience in the US and Canada, some in the UK, than actually based in Jamaica. So I'm not going to restrict my program and change it because of some conflict with Jamaica, because most of the people watch my program are outside Jamaica, actually. Oh, okay. You know what? Maybe I'll practice then. Because look, my best flights are the one where I fall asleep and get up at the destination. Trust me. So people, please come join me tomorrow. All you got to do is just sit down, don't look. Hey, people, let me tell you something. Before we go. Optan, I have to have the window seat. I always have a window seat. I'm always looking at the window. You can, no matter people want to get, look, once in England one time, you know, the British Airways have a simulation for people who don't like to fly. And it cost like $1,000. I was going to do it. I don't know why I didn't do it, because I was like, I got to get over this phobia. This is ridiculous. And I never went through the course. I should have went through the course. They go through the whole process of walking you through, try to educate you about possibility of crashes and all sort of nonsense, which I don't know. When you have certain phobias, it is what it is. ONON, I appreciate you too, ONON. Peter, appreciate you. ONON, Preacher, Jagant. We shouldn't start calling him, I'm going to get in trouble. Adrian, Juras, before the game. Mr. Guna, you know, respond to me, Guna. Link me, Guna, because I may be down your way. And I have some friends down there I got to link up with too. Chris Smith. Let me tell you something. Chris Smith used to beat me now. I'm glad Chris Smith stopped beating me, star. Couldn't take the beat no longer. Wait. Somebody have this. Cranky's not a leader and is naive. He should have had enough corporate experience to advise his fellow YouTubers that it's not right way to go about defaming people. But he's looking for clicks. Okay. I don't know what to say. I appreciate your comments, Reggae Boys Reactor. You are brilliant. You're informed. You're knowledgeable. And your perspective is valued, except not by me. Because I've actually said that. Don't come here without evidence. Don't defame people. I've always said that. But you have your own narrative. You're the same person who goes around doing the same thing. I could block you 100 times. You're going to come on 100 different names. But the thing is that you don't matter. All right, everybody. Have a good evening. Come, people, join me tomorrow. All 160 of you that were on this evening, join me tomorrow. I appreciate you and have a wonderful evening. Peace out. Frankie Life is the best to be now. For the best sports talk and it's free, yo. Frankie Life will be your guiding light by keeping you informed both day and night. Frankie Life, tell them. Frankie Life, heed them. Frankie Life, want them. Frankie Life. From the course to the field, we'll never lose because Cranky has the hottest news. With expert analysis, we break it down. Our in-depth coverage is best in town. Cranky Life, tell them. Cranky Life, heed them. Cranky Life, want them. Cranky Life. Cranky Life, where the sports is spicy and where we keep the discussion lively. Cranky Life, get to know the name because Cranky analysis is never lame. Cranky Life, give me my Cranky Life. I want my Cranky Life. Must have my Cranky Life. Whether it's football or track and field, you know Cranky is at the wheel. So join the journey through victory and defeat and subscribe and don't miss a beat of Cranky Life. Tell them, Cranky Life. Heed them, Cranky Life. Want them, Cranky Life. If you're from England or USA, from Kingston or Bombay, from Kenya or Canada, Lagos or Havana, visit Cranky Life. Tune into Cranky Life. Like up Cranky Life. Subscribe to Cranky Life. Cranky Life coming to you on weekdays. Cranky Life sometimes on Sundays. Pull up a chair and take a seat because Cranky will always bring the heat. Cranky Life. Me say fi tell them Cranky Life. Me say fi heed them Cranky Life. On them Cranky Life. Cranky Life will be around. Cranky Life is the best in town. Me say fi heed them. Me say fi want them. Me say fi heed them. Want them, heed them, want them. Cranky Life. Cranky Life. Heed them. Want them. Heed them. want them. Cranky life. Cranky life. Eat them, want them, eat them, want them, eat them, want them. Cranky life. Cranky life. Cranky. Eat them, want them, eat them, want them, eat them, eat them.